All right, welcome everybody. We have been doing some good work in this module, which is working with creating data frames and slicing data frames. We're kind of in the home stretch of this module, and we're going to be working with this bike store data frame, and we're going to be combining everything that we've learned so far, what we've learned about indexing and slicing and now logical statements. So there is a link to this Colab notebook in the description of this video. And in order for these code cells to work in that we're going to cover in this part of the notebook in this video, you're going to need to either have been running this notebook earlier and have already created this data frame that's called bike clean. And if you've done that, then you're ready to get going. If you haven't done that, then let me just show you which code cells you're going to need to run to catch up. And so if you go back up here, there is a part of this Colab notebook which is called loading CSV files with read CSV. And you're going to want to run this code cell, which first loads this external data into a data frame called bike store. You don't necessarily need to run this summary of it. There were some problems with the data that we needed to clean up. You're going to want to clean it up. So you'll next want to run this code cell in the cleaning the bike data, bike store data. And as long as you're getting summary bike clean output that looks like this, you're all caught up and now you're ready to go. So now let's move back down. Here we are into logical indexing, and you've got the bike clean data set ready to go. So now we can combine what we've done with our indexing with logical tests on things. So let's say, for example, I want to know I want to extract order status, brand, product line, and list price for all transactions that have a list price greater than $2,090. Okay, so first of all, we want to keep just columns 1 through 3, right? Order status, brand, product line, and column 6. So that we know how to do. We can do that over here, right? So the column index, we indicate second inside of these square brackets. What is new is we want to keep only the observations, only the rows that have a list price greater than $2,090. Up until now, we've only been saying, like, let's keep rows 1 through 5. But now we want to keep only the rows like contingent on some logical condition. And that logical condition is we want to check this condition, right? So we're only going to want to keep the rows for which this test returns a true back to us. So this is saying, okay, we're going to check the bike clean list price. So it's going to go into this column over here, the list price column. For each of these values in the list price column, it's going to say, are you bigger than 2090? So it's going to say, okay, this first value is not bigger than 2090. We're going to get rid of you. We're not going to keep you when we slice this data. It's going to go to the next row, and it's going to say, this row, yeah, you do have a list price, which is just barely bigger than 2090. So when I slice this data frame, I'm going to keep this row of data, but I'm not going to keep the entire row. I'm only going to keep columns 1, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 6. And it's going to do this test for every single row of data, and it's only going to keep the rows of data that have a list price which is bigger than 2090. So this is how I'm going to index the rows, is that I'm going to index the rows with this logical test. So this is all going inside of the square brackets, and this is all how I'm indexing from the bike clean data frame. And I'm going to store all of this data that I extract into a new data frame now that I'm calling expensive, because these are expensive prices, let's say. And I'm going to just print out some of the output that I get. Okay, this head command over here doesn't print out the full data frame. Like the original data frame had like 20,000 values. So I don't want to print out everything because this might be quite big. So I'm just going to test to see whether this is actually extracting things as I think it should. And so I can see here that it did keep this observation, because I can see it kept the row observation with index 2. It excluded all of these other ones, and then the next one it kept was over here. And like looking at this output, I suspect that like these were all the same item, right, that were sold to different people, that there must be like some bike that they were selling for $2,091.47. Um, so that's great. So this was keeping rows. Um, we can take a look at the tail end of this as well. Let me just, yeah, okay. So who knows? Maybe this is the only item that was that expensive. But yeah, so we can see that there are a whole bunch of items possibly in this data set that were that they sold for this exact price. Okay, so that's how we can extract rows based on a logical condition. So in the next video, we'll talk about, I have a question for you, and you can think about it, and we'll practice a similar example. Thanks, everyone.